And when we talk about these audits that you carry out, help us understand how often you carry out these audits, because looking at over 33,000 vehicles, that's quite the number. And you also mentioned that you carried out an exercise to verify vehicles with the Road Transport and Safety Agency between January 2015 and October 2021. Why only during this period?
Well, another good question. Why only during this period? Well, what we have been doing, one of the drives that the authority has taken is one of ensuring that we modernize our systems. And in the process of modernizing our systems, one thing that we have told ourselves is that we need to have the numbers at hand. And having numbers at hand, it entails that systems must be talking to each other. Okay, so as we close all the loopholes of revenue leakages and just ensuring that all our systems are in place, we are doing this audit to ensure that we have the right statistics. Okay, so what we were doing at this moment is the aspect of data matching, the aspect of ensuring that we have the right records, the aspect of ensuring that we have the right statistics. So imagine if we didn't have these statistics. We're looking at over 3,000 vehicles. And if you ask me right now how many vehicles were imported between 2015 and 2021, of course, there's going to be a discrepancy of 33,000. So what we are doing as we are doing the data matching and ensuring that we have the right statistics, we are also modernizing. And now the major process that we have done is to ensure that our systems begin to speak to each other. So currently, between the Zambia Revenue Authority and the Road Transport and Safety Agency, if you import a motor vehicle right now, you will not be able, I can assure you that you will not be able to register that motor vehicle as long as your documentation is not correct, as long as you've not paid the right taxes. But in so doing, we had to conduct an exercise to ensure that we have the right number of vehicles, to a point where if come tomorrow you ask me how many vehicles were imported between this period and this period, we are going to give you the correct statistics. And that is the reason why only now we had to do this exercise, is to ensure that we have the right statistics. We capture all the motor vehicles from our side as the Zambia Revenue Authority and ensure that the Road Transport and Safety Agency also has the right statistics in terms of how many motor vehicles were imported, how many motor vehicles pass through the country as transit vehicles, how many motor vehicles have got customs import permits, for those that just come to work in Zambia on a temporary basis. So we're just ensuring that we have the right statistics of anything that enters the country, anything that leaves the country in terms of motor vehicles.
Mr. Nzala, I'm going to ask, what is the likelihood that this is actually due to poor bookkeeping between the ZRA and the RTSA? Because if you really think about it, there's the chance that some of this, as you said, systems need to be modernized, correct? So how do we know that this was not just failure on the part of ZRA and RTSA, and now ordinary people may be being inconvenienced because something may have not been done correctly?
Well, let me answer your question from the last part of being inconvenienced. To do the wrong thing is self-inconveniencing. So in the first place, I want to believe that you own a motor vehicle and you did the right thing. You paid the right duties and taxes, and currently you're not being inconvenienced. But for anyone who did the wrong thing, it is quite an inconvenience if the Zambia Revenue Authority or RATSA, for instance, impounds your vehicle, seizes that vehicle and forfeits it to the state. That is an inconvenience, yes. But when it comes to a bookkeeping, because we did mention that it could be as a result of mismatching wrongly captured data, which can be true, because we were moving from the manual systems to the automated systems. And added to that is one aspect that I was talking to, we discussed with one of your producers, is the fact that sometimes you've got bad eggs. Okay, we need to admit that. We behind our systems, there are also human beings that you could have one or two bad eggs that allow for certain vices to take place. And what we are doing as an authority is to ensure that we keep preaching the aspect of integrity. Government has put in measures that ensure that we eradicate corruption at corporate level, and this is something that we have been doing. In the past, we had a number of ZRA officials being dismissed from the Customs Services Division. The numbers have drastically reduced. We still have bad eggs, and we want to clean those eggs up by way of ensuring that we continue sensitizing, we continue improving the morals of our officers. You cannot collect revenue if your officers have got a way of pilfering government resources by allowing certain corrupt activities or vices to continue taking place. So some of the vehicles could have been a result of certain bad eggs, that want to have quick money, allow those vehicles to pass or enter the country without any documentation. And that is why we have taken the route of modernization in our customs services, indirect and direct divisions, just to ensure that taxpayers do everything online. And if you check, for your own information rather, for everything that happened between 2015 and 2021, our systems also allow us to go back and check who was doing what type of clearing or what type of processes. So there's always an electronic trail that will tell us what happened. So yes, there could have been instances on our part of poor record keeping, poor systems in place at that particular time, but we have improved our systems and will continue doing so in order to ensure that we implement the best practices in terms of trade facilitation and revenue administration.
And as we get to conclude, Mr. Nzala, let's focus also on, you have mentioned the issue of asylum being given to the public, but what will ZRA's position be in an event that we see some members of the public who do not comply with this ultimatum that has been given the 31st of August?
Oh, thank you so much for bringing that question. Come the end of 31st August 2022, what the Zambia Revenue Authority will do is that we are going to send back, of course, our enforcement unit is always out in the field, but we are enhancing our enforcement activities to ensure that any motor vehicle that will be found without the right documentation, and not having paid, customs duties and taxes. By the way, we have enhanced our technology so much further now that very soon our enforcement unit will be able to have, equipment, satellite equipment, which will be able to allow them to quickly check documentation for any goods, be it a motor vehicle or these goods that we consume on a daily basis. They'll be able to verify whether the right taxes and the right documentation is there in place. So for any motor vehicle that will be found without the right documentation, that vehicle will be seized, and there will be a highly likelihood of that vehicle being forfeited and forfeited to the state. So you stand to lose out, your vehicle to the state. So we are urging all motor vehicle owners, remember, we are not, as long as you voluntarily take yourself. Other people started, calling and sending their documents as of yesterday. I know there's one man who sent in the chassis number. He doesn't have the right documentation. He doesn't have documentation at all, but he said, look, here's my chassis number. Can you please retrieve the customs clearance certificate for me so that I verify if the right taxes or duties were paid? So what we are doing is that we are not penalizing anyone. We're not charging interest. Moreover, at the time we find that no taxes were paid, we will tell you the taxes that should be paid. ZRA is made up of human beings. We have a human face. We'll look at your situation and discuss the way forward on how you can pay those duties and taxes that are due to the ZRA. So it is better to do the right thing now than getting inconvenienced after the deadline, because after then, we'll tell you that you need to pay the taxes, tell you that you need to pay the interest and penalties. Where all things, where the West has to come to the West, then we'll tell you that we are forfeiting this vehicle to the state. So you end up getting inconvenienced.